Hi everyone. In today's video I'm going to be talking about humidity. This is quite an important topic, so I've decided to split this down into smaller videos so that you can easily find them at a later date if you want to come back to them. Plus I have so much information that I wanted to cover and I didn't want to hit you with all that information in one video. So the humidity videos that I'll be doing are: number one, this one, is why humidity is important for tortoises. Number two, what are the suitable humidity ranges for the most commonly kept tortoise species? The third video is different ways to increase or maintain humidity. The fourth video is humidity experiments and the results of these. And the final video is how to build a simple closed chamber for those of you who are interested in this method. The topics that I'll be covering in this video are: what is humidity? I'll be covering why I believe it's important, and I will outline the benefits and risks. And I'll also cover how to measure humidity. So first I'll briefly cover what humidity is. Humidity is the amount of water vapour in the air or atmosphere. The humidity levels vary depending on how warm or how cold the air temperature is to turn water into water vapour. The warmer the air is, the more water vapour it can hold compared to colder air. The levels of humidity can be measured in three different ways: absolute, relative and specific. The usual way we measure humidity in our tortoise enclosures using hygrometers is the second one, relative humidity, or RH as some people refer to it as. A hygrometer, for those of you who aren't familiar, is a device that you can use in your tortoise table to check the humidity levels, and I'll be covering the ones that I use later on in the video. When we're using a hygrometer, what it's actually doing is, first of all, around the probe it checks the temperature. So in this example it's 30 degrees C. Then it measures the amount of water in the air surrounding the probe, and again in this example it's 21.3 grams per cubic metre. Then with these two figures it calculates the relative humidity percentage. All that means is it's working out how humid it currently is compared with the maximum it could ever be for that temperature. So to demonstrate this, we know the temperature is 30 degrees C, and here we can see the maximum humidity for 30 degrees C would be 30.4 grams per cubic metre. We know our measurement at the probe is 21.3 grams per cubic metre, so we divide 21.3 grams by 30.4 grams, and this gives us 70% RH. The good thing is we don't need to do any of these calculations, as our hygrometers do the hard work for us and they just tell us the results straight away. As another example, we know at the probe it's 21.3 grams per cubic metre, but if the temperature at the probe was higher, so 35 degrees C, we can see that the relative humidity percentage would be somewhere between 50 and 60%. And at a lower temperature of around 25 degrees C, still with the same water content of 21.3 grams per cubic metre, the relative humidity would be somewhere between 90 and 100%. Now, the reason I've gone into a little more detail on the behind the scenes of your hygrometer is to help explain why you might see different humidity readings in various areas of your tortoise table at the same time of day. So for example, under the basking lamp or heat source, compared to the point furthest away from your heat source. Humidity will also vary at different times of day. For example, when the basking lamp is switched on first thing in the morning, the temperatures will increase, which leads to the RH decreasing. If you have the heating or air conditioning on where your tortoise is, this will also affect humidity. Daily changes in the weather also changes humidity levels. For example, if it's a warm and rainy day, the humidity will increase. It will also vary at different times of year in the different seasons, for example in the summer or winter months. And also humidity varies depending on where you live. For example, some countries have a more humid climate than others. Next, I'll be covering why humidity is important for your tortoise in a captive environment. One of the key benefits is it helps with hydration. But don't assume if your tortoise is in an environment that is humid that they'll have enough water in their bodies. Although they do take on water through some of the foods that we give them, they'll still need access to clean drinking water and also have frequent baths to keep them nicely hydrated. As well as losing moisture in warmer environments, all tortoises will lose moisture by going to the toilet, salivating, breathing, and also evaporation via their skin. Keeping your tortoise nicely hydrated with the right humidity levels and the other methods of water intake that I've just been through will help prevent the build-up of bladder stones, renal or kidney failure, and gout. Humidity plays a part in your tortoise's natural behaviour. In the wild, your tortoise's humidity requirements and how it handles its water stores will vary depending on what species it is. Generally, the species that come from more humid climates will need a humid climate in captivity. However, having said that, even those species that come from drier climates will get some degree of humidity from burrows, base of plants and long grasses, etc. The right levels of humidity can also prevent pyramiding during your tortoise's growing years. However, it is believed that this isn't the single cause of pyramiding, but one of many factors such as diet, quantity and quality of food, quick growth, poor UVB and calcium, etc. High temperatures and high humidity, especially if it's combined with the lack of airflow, can cause mould and mildew to grow, which can be harmful for your tortoise if the bacteria or fungus is eaten or it's breathed in. You can help prevent mould and mildew by making sure there's good airflow in your tortoise table, you're using a good quality substrate that's not prone to mould, etc., by making sure the substrate doesn't get too damp, and regularly changing the substrate, regular spot checks for mould and mildew and prompt removal of any affected substrate. You can also overspray the soil with tortoise safe disinfectant when the tortoises aren't in the tortoise table, as this is also said to kill off any fungus or mould spores. Some experts also report that the bacteria and fungus that can occur in environments with overly high humidity and damp substrates can cause skin diseases, respiratory and breathing problems, as well as shell rot. An environment with very high humidity along with high temperatures can suffer the keratin. The keratin is what these scutes are made up of. Some keepers attribute this environment to preventing pyramiding in tortoises as they grow. However, it's also argued that a tortoise with a lumpy or pyramided shell usually indicates that the tortoise may have metabolic bone disease, and by softening the keratin in an environment that has high humidity and temperatures, it's not actually resolving the underlying metabolic bone disease issue for that tortoise, it's just stopping us seeing that there's a problem. Now we can move on to hygrometers. As I mentioned previously, the way to test humidity levels in your tortoise's enclosure is by using hygrometers. I would always recommend using a digital hygrometer over an analogue one, as I found them to be more accurate. I'll now briefly cover the hygrometers that I use in my indoor setups. So I use two types. The first one is this digital one from Exoterra. It's called a combo meter and it cost me around £23. It has a useful feature of recording the minimum and maximum settings since the last time that you reset it. I use these in my indoor tortoise enclosures and I check these a few times a day. The second type of hygrometer I use is this Elitech data logger and it cost me around £30. Again, I use this a few times a day to check the humidity levels at various points in my tortoise enclosures, as well as downloading the data onto my computer so that I can analyse what points of the day the humidity levels are dropping outside my preferred ranges. Then I can make adjustments to the humidity levels as needed. When using a hygrometer, you'll need to make sure that the probes are at the tortoise's height. And also monitor the 4 key areas of the tortoise table, which are the basking area, the warmer end, the cooler end and overnight. As I mentioned previously, there are a lot of environmental factors that affect humidity, so it's important that you regularly check the humidity levels to help keep your tortoise healthy. I hope you found this video useful, and if you have, please click the thumbs up, share with your tortoise friends, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thanks for watching.